We need to talk. About 2 weeks ago, I had a mastermind call for about 2.5 hours with my Patreon members to discuss the overall NFT market, where I think it's headed in the next couple weeks and the next couple months. And based on what I'm seeing right now in the NFT space, I wanted to share some of the points we talked about in this call with you guys here on the video. When I first joined the NFT space roughly 6 months ago or so, things were much different than they are now. Many of the seemingly hype and hot projects then are almost all but dead now, at least by floor price. And if you look at OpenSea's monthly metrics, you can see that since August, OpenSea volume, meaning OpenSea trades and amount of people trading NFTs on the platform, has gone down every single month since August. That's not a good sign. Even though there are more users in this space than ever before, and it's still growing relatively fast, there's still under 1 million total users on OpenSea, which in the grand scheme of things is a very small number, and there's a ton more supply of projects coming to the space. In other words, every single day there are a bunch of new NFT projects launching. The overall supply of new NFT projects launching every day has gone through the roof, which is causing what I believe to be a major oversaturation in the NFT space, at least at the moment. So how do I come to this overall generalized conclusion? Well, let's take a deeper look. In my private Patreon membership, which link down below if you want to check that out, I get sent about 100 new NFT projects every single week. Many of these projects I actually do look at and spend a lot of time thoroughly reviewing. That's for the membership, but the point here is that I look at a lot of projects on a pretty deep level. And lately, I have to say that a lot of my grades for these projects have been quite bad. Now, if you want to see the highly rated projects and all the projects that I put on my NFT calendar for myself and my group to actually go ahead and mint, you can check out the Patreon membership in this card right up here or in the link down below. But as I was saying, most of the projects that I get sent to review are, by my standard, quite poor. There are so many cash grab and cookie cutter low effort projects joining the space right now that it's actually quite concerning. If I had to estimate, there's probably about 25 new PFP or profile picture NFT projects joining the space every single day, and I would say of those, 95% of them won't even make it 1 year in this industry, let alone give you any kind of profit or return on investment. So since many of you watching this video and many of my subscribers are relatively new to the NFT space, I wanted to make this video to let you guys know, don't FOMO into these products right now. There is a ton of crappy projects like Shiba Doge Fluffy Friends Club, and that actually sounds kind of close to some of these other products I've reviewed already, and it's that crazy that I'm saying that. But for those of you wondering, that's a joke. It's not a real project. Don't be FOMOing into these random projects that are cookie cutter templates of other projects that have had success in the past. To help you realize what makes a project good versus a project like the one I just came up with randomly, in one of my previous videos, I made a buyer's checklist, which is basically my checklist of all the things I go through when I look at these projects to determine, is it a good potential buy? Will it be flippable for a profit? Or is there a high chance it can be flipped for a profit? And or is it a project that I'm looking to hold for a couple months, which in the NFT space, as you'll see here in a second, is like an eternity. Things change very quickly in this space. So this buyer's checklist right here is also available on my Patreon, but you can give it a quick look over and understand some of the things I look for when looking at these projects. A lot of these NFT collectors are actually looking to flip projects. So not only are you potentially trying to make money on your NFT purchases by selling them for a higher price, but a lot of other people are doing that too. So that actually causes a big issue in this space when you're trying to do something and competing against someone else to do the same thing. I think what people hear when they hear NFTs and see some of the thumbnails and titles is that you can get quick buys and quick flips for quick profit. But the truth is that 90 to 95% of the projects out right now are never going to make it more than a year. So getting those flips has to be timed pretty much perfectly. And no matter how good a project may look right now, a lot of projects early on are very hype driven. So even the best ones, and trust me, I'll show you guys a bunch of examples in a second here, will likely die out in the coming months and maybe die out forever. So you have to be very careful. And to illustrate this point, I want to show you some of my personal worst losses in the NFT space in just 6 months, right? I haven't even been in this space that long. 6 months feels like a very long time, and believe me, I learned quite a bit in that time. But let me show you some of the projects that I bought 6 months ago, or in the last 6 months, some of them even 2 or 3 months ago, not that long, that I thought had a lot of potential, that pretty much checked off a lot of the things on the buy list, and have since become extremely illiquid or lost a ton of value. And I mean like 80% or more of their value. Effectively, most of these projects at the current moment, if I were to even be able to sell them, I would basically have taken my Ethereum and burnt it because it's pretty much gone. So sorry to interrupt you, me, us? I want to give some super quick love to the sponsor of today's video, which is FTX US. FTX US has quite competitive trading fees. I mean, like actually tied for some of the best in the industry. And they also have an NFT platform that has both Ethereum and Solana NFTs on it. That's already a lot more than other exchanges can say. Having access to NFTs on multiple blockchains all in one place is clutch. You know what's even more clutch though? On FTX, you don't have to pay any trading fees. When you buy or sell your NFTs, no trading fees. As a trader and a collector myself, I can tell you firsthand how much of your profits you can actually lose just on the fees alone, especially on Ethereum. So removing fees from the equation makes it that much easier to flip NFTs for a profit, and who doesn't like keeping that extra money in their pocket? If you want to check out the platform for yourself to make sure all these things I'm talking about are actually true, and trust me, they are, click on this link right up here in the card or the link in the description down below to go check out FTX US. I promise you're not going to be disappointed. So the first project here is Omnimorphs, and as you can see right here, 3.4 thousand Ethereum volume traded. You can tell right away that that is a project that had a lot of hype and a lot of traffic because 3.4K Ethereum is a serious amount traded. So people were definitely interested in this thing. But if we go down to activity, I'm not going to even need to show you the good charts. This is, you can see it already well enough here. This is how well this thing was doing. It was doing 200 to 500 sales a day, selling for around 0.33 Ethereum. And since then, it has just come to a screeching crawl in the last 3 months. Well, guess where I bought it? I bought 2 of these at 0.33 when they were going nuts. Everyone was buying these things. The art was good at the time. It checked all the boxes. They actually just released their fusion where you can actually combine 2 of these together to make a new one. But as you can see here, the floor is 0.04, and the liquidity, although it has done better in the last day because of fusion, prior to that, these things were not selling. I mean, they were selling maybe a couple, maybe 20, 30 a day, which is not completely illiquid yet. You can see right here, a couple a day, but this thing is pretty much dead as far as a price goes. I'm going to try to sell these as much as I can for at this point, but this is an absolute L on a project that I thought had a lot of potential in just 3 months. Not even. It took about a month and a half for this thing to really come to its point where it died out. The next project is probably my worst L to date, Super Fuzz Bad Bunch, and believe me, I made a super bad decision on this one. 0.05 floor. Obviously, this one did not have nearly as much trade volume. This was a much smaller quantity, which is why I was interested in it. Had a lot of good buzz from people on Twitter, notable followers that I follow on Twitter too. And you can see this is my guy right here. He's third on the list. I'm trying to sell it for 0.06, and I bought it for 0.64. That was a several $1,000 painful L, and what's even worse is that just because I have it listed for 0.6, I'm not so sure it's going to sell. I mean, look at this. The last one sold 9 days ago. 9 days. So it is not looking good for me. Obviously, you can see, guess where I bought it. Yep, I bought the peak again. I bought the peak when the hype was there, and I held hoping it would come back around. It is dead. There are days where this thing doesn't sell anything. Look at this. November 19th sold 2. The next time it sold anything was November 27th. 12 days, almost 2 weeks without a single sale. Unless there's some catalyst that comes up for this project is pretty much dead in the dirt, and if I can get out with any money, that would be a win at this point. The next project here, I didn't fail as badly because I recognized this thing was dying pretty quickly, and I sold as quickly as I could, but same thing. I bought this thing up here. I think I bought mine around 0.7 and 0.65, and I sold them for each about 0.3, somewhere around here when it had an extra little pump, but I am glad I got out because, again, look at this. This thing is uber illiquid. No one is buying, and the price, as you can tell, is down very, very, very bad. This project was not nearly as well rated on my buy list, and I was just shooting my shots, hoping one would hit and trying to flip these things early on in my experience. And I guarantee a lot of you will probably try to do that too, but I'm telling you right now, spray and pray is not the method here. You want to pick quality shots, take your shots with calculated risk, and go for the good ones, because shooting your shot on all kinds of different stuff, even if it's cheap, doesn't mean anything. It's not going to work out in the long run. Trust me, I know from experience. The next one here is a project that I really thought had the most potential. I am genuinely shocked this one flopped so bad. Look at 5.3 thousand Ethereum trade volume. That is some serious traction for this project. This is one of the best looking projects early on. I got in on this early. I got the mint on it. it did well for a while. It really was holding its own for a while, had a lot of sales, pretty consistent price for a while, and then over time it just started dying out. The team on this one's great. The art, in my opinion, is great. It's unique. It was the first of its kind. Now there's a lot of other projects that are very similar to this, which is why I always get weary of like Psychedelics Anonymous. Looks exactly like this in my opinion, but Incognito did it first. Like, look at this. This project came out in early August. I mean, this thing's been out for a long time, and it's just come and died. This one's not as illiquid as the last couple projects, but the floors on these are just getting crushed. I got it on mint, so luckily I'm not gonna lose that much money, but I'm just shocked at how bad this project ended up doing. And you can see here, most projects that are coming out right now are never gonna see this kind of trade volume. And this just means right here that there were that many people buying and selling these things, which means it had that much attention at one point. And even projects with that much hype and that much attention and that much traction can come to a screeching halt, as you're seeing here. The last one here, also a major disappointment. This is Alien Samurai Dino Warriors. Terrible name in my opinion, because it's so freaking hard to remember, but this is Dimitri Vegas, and you can see right here, this is one of the best art projects out of the ones I've shown you, right? It's 3D, it's really well done, it's got music on it that Dimitri Vegas put out. You can see right here, limited edition. There's only 100 of them, so the quantity's low. Everything about this to me was pretty solid. I paid 0.35 to get the mint on these because I was one of the first people in the Discord. Unfortunately, this thing is dying hard and fast. I am trying very hard to get out of it right now. You can see I am the lowest price because I have to keep undercutting other people to try to get my name out there. And why, you might ask? The last one sold 9 days ago. 9 days ago. This project was featured on the OpenSea homepage. It had a ton of amazing press. Dimitri Vegas, obviously a pretty big DJ in the world. I don't like to follow traditional celebrities when it comes to NFTs because that doesn't correlate at all. But this project had a lot of good things about it. The art was good. The community was good. The quantity was good. Publicity was good. Everything about it was great. I got in early. Unfortunately, this thing's dying right now. Liquidity on it is a major issue. So if I can get out of this with any money, if I can even get this sale price $500 back, I would be pleasantly surprised. Between all the projects I just showed you, there is a common thread and some key takeaways. Key takeaway number one, people in the NFT space, at least right now, get bored very quickly. If a project isn't constantly updating, innovating, and putting out things that are catalysts to bolster its marketing, the community and the project itself are probably going to die very quickly. One of the things I don't have on my checklist is hype, and it's very hard to measure hype, but you know when you see it. And I'll say this, hype is the biggest bolster of price right now. So be aware that that's factored into the price when you're buying a lot of these things. Speaking of hype, key takeaway number two, pre-launch of a project, and if a project has non-instant reveal, meaning that the NFTs after they are minted aren't immediately revealed what they are. If there's like a window of 24 hours to 72 hours or maybe even a week where all the NFTs are pre-reveal and they haven't been shown yet, that is usually the time you want to try to quick flip. Because out of maybe a dozen projects that I've seen recently, and I mean in the last 2 months, every single one of them that I've seen, except for one, has had higher prices pre-reveal than at post-reveal. As soon as the project gets revealed, those price floors plummet every single time. Unless you have a super rare item in that collection, which again is rare, that's why it's considered to be rare, because it's unlikely you'll have that. The floor NFTs pull that whole floor price right down, and you usually will see, for example, if a collection has a 0.3 Ethereum floor price pre-reveal, sometimes it'll go down between 0.1 and 0.06 post-reveal. So I'm talking like 70% drawdowns here. The hype leading up to a project, and most importantly, the FOMO or the fear of missing out for that project, really pumps up the price early on. So if you're looking to flip and you happen to get in on the mint, pre-reveal is usually a pretty good time to get out. Key takeaway number three, many good-looking projects right now may not make it very far. Incognito is probably one of the best examples I can show you because this project was not only very hyped when it first came out, the art was top-notch at the time, the team was top-notch, some of the things they were doing were adding serious value to the community. Pretty much everything on the checklist was really great about Incognito. I got a pretty rare one, as you can see right here, and I was convinced that this one was going to be worth a lot in the future. As it turns out, selling my other non-rare one for 0.2 Ethereum was the best move I could have made. I should have sold this one for as much as I could at the time and not held on to it because, as you can see right now, the floor is struggling, and if I can even get out at this price, I'd be probably pretty lucky. Now, that's not to say that these things can't rebound, but the chances are very slim because there's so many new projects coming out that are taking all the attention of the market to those new projects, And these older ones, unless they're already established or have a strong holder community, which obviously this one does not at this point, they're probably going to just die out over time, to be honest. So the moral of all this really is I'm not ever going to hide my losses from you. I'm telling you this because I want you guys to learn from my experiences and not make the same mistakes that I've already made. My point here is if you're going to flip, get in, get out. Take your profits at a 2-3x. That is a dub. That is a win. Do not try to be greedy at this point because the market, like I said, there's a lot of supply and the demand, even though it's going up, it's not going up as fast as the supply is going up. So if you're going to flip things, be in, be out. Now, if you watched all the way to this point, I did mention that there was only one project that post-reveal has still had an amazing floor, and that project happened to be the one that was acquired by Nike. Nobody saw that coming. Obviously, that's a huge catalyst for the project. It may not ever have gone that high otherwise. It probably wouldn't have, but this is a pretty good example because guess what? On my Patreon last month, we were doing that mint. We had a live call during the Clone X mint for Artifact's new drop, and some of the Patreon members actually did pick up those mint vials, which went from a 2 Ethereum floor at mint all the way up to a 12 Ethereum floor. That's a 6x and a 10 Ethereum gain. In other words, that's a $50,000 profit if you rode it from the low to the high. And that's not all. Some of those NFTs, if you happen to get a better one, are selling for upwards of $500,000. Being acquired by Nike definitely will drive the value of an NFT project. So if you got in on that one, congratulations. For a lot of you, that is life-changing money, myself included. That would have been an amazing flip. Unfortunately, I did not mint that, but people in my membership did. So again, if you want to join the membership and be keyed in on all these great projects that we identify early on, hit up the Patreon down below in the link or in the card right up here. I have established a better strategy moving forward, and that is the NFT calendar that I've put together that ranks all these projects by a project grading. And anything with a B or a higher grade, so an A or a B grade, that calendar has been wildly successful as far as a return on investment standpoint. So what I'm saying here is if you take enough quality shots, and I mean quality ones, you're bound to score big eventually, or at least we can hope. All right, that's all I got for you. Oh wait, actually, I have one more thing. Make sure you guys leave a like on the video and smile and have a fantastic day. We'll see you all next time. Take care.